Dr. Scott Heath's experience as a black professor at Loyola has been unique.
I feel a great responsibility as the only black person and only person teaching black literature and studies out of that department.
Being the only black professor in the English department and in the African and African American Studies department, Heath said he feels
Undervalued and alienated, isolated for sure. This has been a horrible season for me, like simply trying to keep my job while doing my job. But it's also challenged by a culture of silence and inaction.
But Heath is not alone in this feeling. According to Forbes magazine, black faculty in universities across the country feel there are a lack of safe spaces, unchecked microaggressions, and a failure to support black professors' advancement, especially when a professor is trying to gain tenure.
In all of this ordeal, I've never been present for the meetings, which is one of the more hurtful parts of it all. I believe my contract was not renewed primarily based around a missed due date and, frankly, a lack of empathy.
According to Heath, the department opened up his tenure track case when he was planning a funeral for a close friend last semester. Students formed petitions and held protests in support of Heath. In an email to students, Interim President Justin Daffron said, "I too share the values of students, including advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion in our faculty. Loyola's commitment to these principles remains strong, as is our commitment to the African and African American studies. We are conducting several searches with the goal of recruiting talented and diverse faculty and expanding the African and African American studies program this fall." According to Forbes magazine, black faculty also take on an unequal distribution of, quote, diversity service work.
I don't think anybody sees it as particularly burdensome necessarily, but it can be, and it can stretch a person thin, and challenge the work that we're actually doing. You know, when you're all over the place, you know, or expected to be all over the place, or expected to be the black face, you know, and yet voiceless at the same time.
Heath said universities can help by providing continued support to black professors.
And the irony of it all, right, is that Loyola has hired its first black president in 111 years, right, but at the same time is deleting black faculty and staff and deleting black studies.
And as the situation develops with Dr. Heath in the African and African American Studies Department, students are still wondering how this will impact their semester in the fall. This has been Domonique Tolliver reporting.